Thank you very much. Good evening, everybody. I would like to call the meeting to order and acknowledge that we are in Treaty 1 territory, the home and traditional lands of the Anishinaabe, Ojibwe, Innu Cree, and Dakota peoples, and in the national homeland of the Red River Métis. Our drinking water comes from Shoal Lake 40 First Nation in Treaty 3 territory. My name is Marla Billinghurst. I will be chairing the panel this evening. With me today are Mr. Doug Marks and Ms. Val Warren. Representing the assessment department is Ms. Jennifer Martins, and the recording secretary is Ms. Belen Rowe. We will be hearing applications for revision of the assessment roll in accordance with the Municipal Assessment Act. The matters for which revision is requested have been described in each application, and we will limit discussion to those matters. The statements that are made at this hearing are sworn testimony, and anyone speaking to the matters must be sworn in. Be advised that comparisons of assessments of properties are not considered evidence of market value by the Board of Revision. The Board of Revision is appointed annually by Council, and is independent of it and the City Administration. It makes its decisions on the basis of the evidence provided at this hearing and issues a written order that will be mailed to all parties as soon as possible. Please note that the Board's decisions with respect to an application may be appealed to the Manitoba Municipal Board if the matter pertains to assessed value or classification, or to the Court of King's Bench if the matter pertains to the application of exemptions from taxation. Should you wish to appeal, information on how to do so will be included with the Board's order. With respect to the hearing process, I will confirm the points of appeal with your property to be addressed with each applicant following the swearing in. We will then have the assessor's testimony, followed by questions that the applicant may have, and then the applicant's testimony, followed by questions. Each side will have an opportunity to summarize if they wish. Once all of the evidence about an application has been brought forward, the applicants may leave. The process will repeat for each item on the docket today, and the session will close after all the applications have been heard, and the Board will deliberate in private and make its decisions. You will receive the Board's decision by registered mail as soon as possible. As information, all public hearings are live streamed, recorded, and will be part of the public record. We will be hearing items 1 through 8 on our docket today. Ms. Rojo, please affirm the assessor's and the applicant's testimony. Thank you.
Madam Assessor, please state your full name.
Jennifer Suzanne Martins.
And you affirm the evidence you're about to present is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do so affirm.
Thank you. Madam Applicant, please state your full name.
Sarah Cates.
And you affirm the evidence you're about to present at this hearing is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, sorry, now I'm having a technical issue. The first brief will not open. Super. Okay. Give me 1 minute, please. I'm trying. I think, this is just not a great day for technology for anybody.
It's never a good day for technology.
Seriously, I just had the introduction and everything open, and now, okay, you know what? I'm not going to hold us up any longer. Okay, wait, I'm going to try one more time here. Okay, here we go. Oh, thank you. Okay. Here we go. All right, I'm very sorry about that. Ms. Martins. Oh, sorry. The first matter on the docket this evening is 330 Blake Street. Ms. Martins, please proceed when you're ready.
Thank you. This is file number 22-1053. Roll number 13092600200, 330 Blake Street, for the roll year 2023 with a reference date of April 1st, 2021. The assessed value is $11,255,000. This is a property with 13 buildings on it. All of them are 1 to 3 stories. The actual years built is between 1953 to 1958. There are 182 suites with 104 outdoor parking spots. The land area is 258,367 square feet, and the plan area is 60,034 square feet. And if we go to page 3, please. We show that there is a mix of 1-bedroom, 2-bedroom, and 3-bedroom units. We have an average monthly rent per unit at $743.12. So for that income stream, we have a gross potential rent of $1,622,974 with a vacancy rate of 3.2% and an expense rate at 54.77%, giving us a net operating income of $710,581. To that, we've applied a capitalization rate of 6.4%, which gives us $11,103,000. We do have a second income stream, and that one is an office class income stream. It is class 20G. The gross potential rent of that is $12,840. We've applied a 6% vacancy rate, a shortfall of $8 per square foot, and an expense rate of 3%, which gives us an NOI of $11,228. To that, we've applied a capitalization rate of 7.4%, giving us a value of $152,000. When we add the two income streams together, that's how we get the final value of $11,255,000. The other income stream, the office income stream, is a daycare that is in this section. We do have some rents available, and we have some rental comparables for the for both of the income streams on that page. For the office section, there's rental comparables from $12 to $13.74. And for the apartments, we have rents ranging from $1,043 to $1,152. If we look further, we see we do have an income and expense form that has been filled out and returned to us. And we have, on the very last page, we have a couple pictures. We have a map just showing the location. It's on Blake Street off of Logan Avenue. And at the top of the last page, we have a picture of the property itself, showing how all the buildings and how they're situated on the property. That's everything. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Ms. Cates, do you have any questions for Ms. Martins?
I do, thank you. So if we turn to your cap rate table on page 5, so in looking at your cap rates, can you provide any information on the sales that are being used to achieve these rates, such as how many sales were included in what area, etc.?
No, these were part of the model. We do have a bit more information on page 6, showing a bit more specialized with the multifamily. These weren't used to find, these weren't necessarily used to find the model. These are examples that are used to support the model.
Okay. So in looking at the 20th and 80th percentiles stated, they're 4.8 to 5.6. Are you aware of what the entire range of the cap rates would be?
No.
Okay. Would it be fair to say that the higher end of the range, like beyond the 80th percentile, would be for riskier properties?
You can say that.
Okay. So looking at this property specifically, would you agree that the property is in a challenging location?
It depends what your definition is of challenging. Right now, this is a Manitoba Housing and Renewal Corporation property. So it's being subsidized and they are supported by the government. So that does make it less challenging. Also, finding monthly rents anywhere for the amount that they're asking for is challenging. There's been a lot of struggles finding locations. So no, as far as the property goes, I don't know if I would consider this to be a challenging one, especially with all the renovations and things that have gone into this property.
But would you agree there's not a lot of business investment or economic investment in this area?
No,
Okay.
I would agree.
Would you agree the property is adjacent to a rail line?
Yes.
Okay. And would you agree that that was a value negative rather than a value positive?
No,
Okay.
I would agree.
And then just a couple more questions. If we turn to your cap rate evidence on page 6, so the purpose stated is to prove the accuracy of the model, but would you agree that only 2 of the 6 cap rates actually fall within the 20th to 80th percentile?
I'm sorry, can you repeat the question?
Would you agree that only 2 of the 6 cap rates fall within the 20th to 80th percentile?
Well, I would round the 4.77 and the 4.79 if you want to be that particular. So I would say that those 2 are within it. So I would say that 4 of the 6 do, and of the other 2, 1 is below and 1 is above, which does show that we do have a wide range of cap rates that are available. So I would say that this example does support the cap rates that were provided by the model.
Okay. And have you also provided the workups as part of your cap rate evidence?
No, I haven't.
Okay. Thank you. That would conclude my questions.
Thank you very much. Mr. Marks, do you have any questions for Ms. Martins?
Just one, that extra space that was talked about, and it was valued at $152,000. That's partially a daycare. What was the other portion?
I'm sorry it's my understanding that it's all a daycare. I haven't been to see that the building that the daycare is in since they put it in there. I have been in this property numerous times, but I haven't seen the daycare.
Okay. And there have been numerous upgrades done to this property?
Yes.
Have there been building permits taken up regarding that?
Yes. One in 2013 was for just over $1 million. There's a few that are older than, there's a few that are older than that, but there's also, that one doesn't have the value. Yes, well over $1 million since 2013.
And what work was done within that building permit?
We've got, they did an overhaul of they did an overhaul of the majority of the property, renovating much of the buildings with new light fixtures, they went through, painted. The one building in particular, they switched around where apartments were. Remembering from when I did the permit, they moved around on the one property where the apartments were, and they changed the layout and they put the daycare, and they did upgrades to the apartments because
Okay.
things had been moved around. So they've done extensive work on it.
Basically an upgrade throughout.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. No questions.
Finishes, enlarging existing windows, things of that nature.
Okay, thank you.
Ms. Warren, do you have any questions for Ms. Martins?
Just along the line of what Doug was saying, if there was $1 million overhaul from the time that I believe that the building was built, would that not change your effective year built?
We were trying to balance the values. So on a property of this size, it might have impacted the year built, but when the person who did the permits put it all in, they made the decision to leave the effective year built as is.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much. I have no questions at this time. So Ms. Cates, please proceed with your presentation.
Thank you. So if you turn to page 2 of the brief, we have a summary of some of the property facts, as well as our requested assessment of $10,303,000. And I've included an overhead view so you could see all of the buildings on the site. And there's also some external photographs for the pages to follow, just given that there are so many buildings. So if you turn to page 8, we have our property description. So the subject property is located on Blake Street at its intersection with Irish Avenue in the Weston area of Winnipeg. So the property contains 13 buildings that were built in 1958, the majority of which are used as multiple family residential buildings, but there's also a resource center and leasing office on the property. And the site size is approximately 5.9 acres. So the property has 182 units, which includes 62 one-bedrooms, 99 two-bedrooms, and 21 three-bedroom units. And there are 104 outdoor parking stalls noted. So you could see an aerial view below that. And we've also included a Google Map view of the subject neighborhood on page 9, just to get a better sense of what's in the area. So on page 12, we start the overview of our income approach. So given that this property is social housing and they're not going to achieve market rents, we have used the model rents applied by the city, as we understand that those rents are a factor of CMHC market rents. And that comes out to $743.12 per suite per month. Additionally, since it's social housing, it's not going to achieve market vacancy levels. So we've applied a rate of 3.2% as assessed. And we've also applied a market expense ratio of 54.8%. So our contention here is with the cap rate. So if you turn to page 13, we have an overview of our cap rate approach. So we are disputing the cap rate of 6.4%, and we're using a cap rate of 7% for the property. So if you look here, you'll see 2 tables. So the first table shows the base cap rates that we use based on effective year built. And then the second table shows all of the adjustments that we consider on a site-specific basis. So if you turn to page 15, this is our valuation breakdown. So you'll see with the net operating income of $710,581 and our cap rate of 7%, that leads to our indicated market value. Now, if I could just direct everyone to turn to our cap rate study, which is a separate document, and I'll just go through that now for the balance of the docket.
Okay, Ms. Cates, we will turn to that, but I just wanted to let you know that all the panel members, and I believe Ms. Martins, are all familiar with that. So in the interest of time, because it's a full docket and an evening hearing, if you could just give us a high-end summary, please, of that.
Yes, for sure.
Thank you.
So if you turn to page 2 of the cap rate study, we start by looking at the city's cap rates and what they indicate, and we see a range that goes up to 7.4%. Now, in terms of the high end of the range at 7.4, if that's going to be applied to any property, it would make sense that it's applied to this property we're looking at today, which has multiple buildings on the site. They're all quite aged, nearly 60 years old. Additionally, functioning as social housing in a challenging area. So if you look to the middle of page 2, we've summarized the broker reports. So essentially the important points here is that they're suggesting nothing lower than a 5% for low rise. And additionally, we're seeing little to no compression from last cycle. Now the bottom of page 2 has some text surrounding interest rates. So essentially the idea is that the rates don't necessarily move at a 1-to-1 ratio, and that they're only one component of the cap rate. So we've included some graphs as well. These graphs are not for deriving our cap rates because they are national graphs, but simply to show the relationship between interest rates and cap rates. Now, if you turn to page 4, we have the various factors that we discussed in regards to adjustments that we would consider on a site-specific basis. Not all of the factors will be applicable to all properties, but just to touch on a couple of them that will be applicable to the docket today. The first being building type and construction. So wood frame, multiple buildings, that increases the risk as there's more roof to maintain, more systems to maintain, et cetera. A property later on in the docket, heritage status will come into play. So the idea with the heritage adjustment is since heritage status is recorded as a caveat on the title. And then the other one that will be applicable for the next couple of properties will be durability and quality of income. So we make an adjustment for social housing, given the additional risk that comes with those type of properties. So if you turn to page 6, you'll see our cap rate sales. The first 3 are the most relevant to this cycle. We have included some older sales to show the evolution of our position, as well as to bolster our age categories. And then on page 7, on the top, we have a table showing a breakdown of sale price per unit, stratified by the different effective year built. And this is just another metric to show that our requested assessments are on par. And then at the middle of page 7, we have the 2 tables that will show up in all of our briefs. Now, just to touch on just briefly what's in the appendices. So page 8 would be the start of Appendix A. So that is a sampling of city cap rates, simply to show that there's differences among similar properties. So we see that there's some form of adjustment, but we're not completely sure what that would be. Page 14 is just the backup for the market reports in case you wanted to see the source data. Page 20 would be the start of Appendix C, which relates to the factors that we're discussing. So specific points of interest from there, page 37 and 38 shows supply and demand, the amount of new apartments coming on stream. Page 43 would have the backup for our sales. So if you wanted to see how those are calculated. Page 145, Appendix E, that shows the sales data for the sale price per suite. And then starting on page 149, we have Appendix F, which shows the assessor rebuttal that has previously been submitted. And the purpose for that is just to show that there is a level of agreement among the cap rates for certain of the age categories. So if I could just direct everyone to go back to the main brief, and I'll just kind of tie this all together. So just to get a little further into our cap rate adjustment for social housing, if you could turn to page 18 of the main brief. So we have some excerpts from a municipal board order, which states
I'm sorry, I'm going to stop you there. We are not going to be looking at any previous Board of Revision or municipal board orders. This is a hearing de novo.
Okay. Okay, so just to wrap this up then. So our adjustment to the cap rate, we're starting at 5.75%, and we're making an adjustment for multiple buildings. There's 13 buildings on the site. In terms of social housing, our adjustment comes from the idea of low-income tenancy, as well in terms of location factors. The buildings are aged, et cetera. we feel that a 7% adjustment makes sense in this, or a 7% cap rate makes sense as an adjustment. And then the remainder of the appendix would just have the other documents that we've used. And that would conclude my presentation on this property. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Ms. Martins, do you have any questions for Ms. Cates?
Just a few quick ones. The cap rate submission, which branch of Altus put that together?
Our office in Winnipeg, the tax department.
The tax section? Okay,
Mhm.
and what is the purpose of the tax section? Would you agree that the purpose of the tax section is to reduce the taxes paid by their clients?
Not necessarily. I would say the purpose is to find fair assessments.
That's not what your website says.
Okay, well, I didn't submit anything regarding the website, so.
Fair. When we're looking at sorry, just let me find this in your brief. When we're looking at the capitalization rate on page 13, the chart there, is that the same one that goes in many of the Altus briefs for multifamily, that is based on the without prejudice negotiations that we had in previous years with some of your coworkers?
So to answer those questions, these tables do show up in all of the briefs. These are our base cap rates, and the basis of forming them was from the previous cycle, correct?
Okay, that's all my questions. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Mr. Marks, do you have any questions?
Yes, I do. One question regarding the daycare. Is that included in your final numbers at 10,303?
Sorry, can you repeat the question?
The daycare area, is that included in your final numbers at 10,303?
Yes, so essentially, I'm just going to find my chart. Yeah, so our value for the multifamily, we've separated out as 10,151,000, and then the OFS area, we're not contesting. So yes, I've added in that into the final number of 10,303,000.
Okay, thank you. No further questions.
Sorry, I'm just making one note for 1 minute, please. Okay, no, thank you. I just needed a minute to finish. Sorry, Ms. Warren, do you have any questions?
None, thank you.
Okay, thank you. And I have no questions either. Is there a need for summary from either party?
No, thank you.
No summary required. I also just have some short rebuttal on the assessor's cap rates.
Okay, then you may present your rebuttal.
Okay, I will just pull that up. And does everyone have it? May I proceed with that?
Please give me 1 minute. I'm looking for it.
Okay.
Belen, is it on here yet?
Yes, it has been distributed. You may need to refresh your page. And it'll
Okay.
be listed to the very bottom.
So bear with me for a minute because I'm trying to bring it up.
Oh, here it is. Sorry.
Okay, I have it now. Does everybody else have it?
No, I don't have it.
It'll be
Okay.
at the bottom of the list.
Oh, sorry. Thank you.
Mr. Marks, let us know when you receive it, please.
I don't have it yet, sorry.
Okay.
Yeah, that's it.
Oh, that is, okay, thank you. I got it, thank you.
Okay, perfect. Thank you very much. Please proceed.
Thank you. So if you turn to page 2, this is an overview of our rebuttal for the McPhillips cap rate. So essentially what we've done is we've recalculated the cap rate with CMHC, market rents, and vacancy. A colleague of mine found that the rents that were in place at the time of purchase were below market. So that is the background of what we did there. So if you turn to page 3, you'll see the workup for 2390 McPhillips. And with the CMHC market rents and vacancy at October 2020, you'll see a calculated cap rate of 5.59%. And the assessor is at 4.79% for that cap rate. On page 4, we have an overview for 700 St. Mary's and 32 Arden. So 700 St. Mary's, we found the property was bought with the intention to renovate, as shown by an enclosed property letter that we have here. The purchaser was a first-time buyer and the property was in rough shape. And for 32 Arden, there was a couple of issues here. First being that the property was renovated, indicating there was intention when purchasing. And as well, there was some inconsistency in income reporting. Specifically, laundry income was missing for 2018. So with those issues, while we did have that cap rate in our study previously, we have excluded it. So then the remainder of the rebuttal document, and I'll just go through it briefly, is just essentially some appendix. So starting on page 5 would be the appendix for 2390 McPhillips. So we have some CMHC data, as well as an ad just showing that the rents did go up. So we're not using the rents from those ads, but just to indicate that the purchaser did recognize that the rents were below market. Starting on page 14, we have the property letter for 700 St. Mary's. And then starting on page 15, we have an ad from 32 Arden showing remodeled units. And starting on page 18, we have the financial statements. So I won't go through all of those, but it just shows the differences in the income reported. And then to conclude, is a municipal board order. I understand not to speak to that, but that will be in there as well in that document, just talking about some issues with using properties that were purchased with the intention to renovate for a cap rate study where the income is expected to substantially change. So that would conclude my rebuttal for the assessor's cap rates. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Ms. Martins, do you have any questions regarding the rebuttal evidence?
Yes, I do. Thank you. In regards to the calculation for the McPhillips property, it's normal practice to use like actual rents, but you've chosen to make your own model for the actual rents to increase the rent?
Well, this is an atypical situation. Generally, new properties like this, the rents that are in place are the highest the market will bear. The purchaser recognized topside potential here. So to reflect that, we've used CMHC rents. I wouldn't say we've created our own model, but we've used CMHC market rents to reflect what the actual market rents would be for a property like this.
It's my understanding that the Manitoba Tenancies Branch would have some influence as to how an owner is able to increase the rents. Is it reasonable to use a higher rent when it's quite a process to get the rents to that level?
Well, a property of this age wouldn't be under rent control, so it would be reasonable to assume that the rents could increase upon turnover.
The tenancy branch has no control over new buildings?
I'm just suggesting that a 2015 build is not under the same rent controls as an older build. So they would be entitled to increase the rents as the units turn over.
Now, just quickly, the property, sorry, I'm looking here to find the property with the construction on it. Sorry, do you remember which page that's on in yours?
Construction, like 700 St. Mary's or 32 Arden?
That one.
Oh, I have the letter on page 14.
Thank you. Now in here, it says that the renovations were repainting the halls and replacing the carpeting. I don't consider that to be significant. Would you consider that to be a significant renovation that would be at the standard of which to treat that property as though it's inappropriate to use?
The idea is not necessarily just that the renovations be significant, but that it changed the cash flows, the income that the property can expect to attain. So if a property was in rough shape, doing things such as repainting and replacing carpeting can make a big difference. And the owner, they also plan to do more. And given the fact that this cap rate was calculated at 3.6%, kind of gives the indication that there's something else going on here.
I'll leave my other questions on that one. Thank you. That's all my questions. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Mr. Marks, do you have any questions?
No questions for me, thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Warren.
None, thank you.
Thank you, nor do I. Ms. Martins, do you have a rebuttal you would like to present?
No, thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Is there a need for summary from either party?
No, thank you.
I'm good also, thank you.
Thank you. Then we can proceed to the next matter on the docket this evening, which is, 1585 A Notre Dame Avenue. So Ms. Martins, please proceed when you're ready.
This is file number 221590. Roll number 13062407000. The address is 1585 Notre Dame Avenue. The roll year is 2023 with reference date of April 1st, 2021. The assessed value is $3,656,000. There are 4 buildings. They have 2 stories. These were built in 1958. There are 55 suites with 40 outdoor parking spots. The land area is 44,014 square feet. The plan area is 17,920 square feet. We look on page 3. We'll see that there are 11 one-bedroom units and 44 two-bedroom units. We have an average monthly rent per unit at $770.17. This gives us a gross potential rent of $508,312. We've applied a vacancy rate of 3.2%, an expense rate of 55.79%, giving us an NOI of $217,534, with a capitalization rate of 5.95. That gives us our $3,656,000. If you look over on the last page, we have an overhead view and just a map so we can see kind of where this is located. And we see the 4 buildings on the property that is somewhat rectangular, but it does have a little bump out, and it does look like there's some parking in that bump out space. That's everything. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Ms. Cates, do you have any questions?
I have no new questions. Can I just ask that my questions from the prior property be carried through the docket?
Absolutely. Thank you very much. Mr. Marks, do you have any questions?
Yes, just one regarding the cap rate. The building age on this particular property is roughly the same as the first property that you dealt with. And on that property, you had a cap rate of 6.4%. And on this one, you got 5.95%. Is there a reason for that?
Well, the cap rate is based on more than just age. So it could be many of the other factors. It could be the neighborhood. It could be any of the other reasons.
Neighborhoods are roughly the same.
Roughly, but they're roughly the same, but it's not the same, considered the same neighborhood in our system.
Okay, thank you. No further questions.
Thank you. Ms. Wareham, any questions?
No, mine was just answered. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I have no questions. Ms. Cates, please proceed with your presentation when you are ready.
Thank you. So if you turn to page 2 of the brief, you will see our requested assessment of $3,347,000, as well as some external photos of the buildings. So on page 5, we have our property description. So the subject property is located on Notre Dame Avenue between its intersections with Bannatyne Avenue West and Cecil Street in the Weston area of Winnipeg. So the property consists of 4 2.5-story apartment buildings that were built in 1958. The land area is approximately 1 acre, and the property has 55 units, which includes 11 one-bedrooms and 44 two-bedroom units, and there are 40 outdoor parking stalls noted. So you'll see the aerial photograph below, as well as a Google Map view on page 6. So similar to the last property, this property is also social housing. So we're going to be using the same NOI as the city for the reasons listed earlier. In terms of our cap rate, if you turn to page 10, you'll see we are disputing the assessor's cap rate of 5.95%, and we are using a cap rate of 6.5% for this property. We have a base cap rate of 5.75 based on the age. And again, we've made adjustments for multiple buildings that it is social housing that has low income tenancy, aged buildings, and as well, it's in a similar lower socioeconomic area, but we have not made as much of an adjustment to account for the scale of this property. Like the last property had more buildings, was a larger site, etc. So we've put our cap rate to reflect those differences here. So on page 12, we have our income valuation breakdown. So you could see all of the parameters used. So with the NOI of $217,534 and a 6.5% cap rate, we get our indicated value of $3,347,000 rounded, which works out to a value of $60,000, 900 per unit. On the appendix I've included, which starts on page 14, I've just included some additional photos of the other buildings, and similar to the last property, just the other metrics and values that we've used. So I have the city valuation page, as well as our valuation repeated again on the last page, just for convenience there. So that would conclude my presentation on this property. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Ms. Martins, do you have any questions for Ms. Cates?
Thank you.
Sorry, Mr. Marks, do you have any questions?
None for me, thank you.
Ms. Warren?
None, thank you.
Thank you, nor do I. Is there a need for summary from either party?
No, thank you.
I'm good also, thank you.
Thank you. So we can move on to the next matter on the docket this evening, which is 600 McMillan Avenue. Oh, sorry. Okay, Ms. Martins, please proceed when you are ready.
This is file number 221563, roll number 12021824500, 600 McMillan Avenue, for the roll year 2023 with a reference date of April 1st, 2021. The assessed value is $1,940,000. There is one building, 2 stories, built in 1965. There are 19 suites and 11 outdoor parking spots. The land area is 12,060 square feet and the plan area is 5,501 square feet. We go to page 3, please. We see that the breakdown on this is that there are 4 bachelor units, 11 one-bedroom, and 4 two-bedroom, giving us our 19 units. The average monthly rent per unit is $887.84. That gives us a gross potential rent of $202,428 with a vacancy rate of 4.2% and an expense rate of 48.98%. That gives us a net operating income of $98,941, to which we've applied a 5.1% capitalization rate, giving us the market value of $1,940,000. On the last page, we have some pictures. On the top, we have a street view picture, and then in the middle, an overhead view. And then on the bottom, a map showing that this is in the neighborhood that's between Wellington Crescent and Porton Avenue. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Sorry, Ms. Cates, do you have any questions?
Yes, thank you. So regarding your cap rate table on page 5, the broker cap rates are used as further support for the assessment department cap rates. Is that correct?
Yes.
And would you agree they suggest nothing lower than 5% for low rise, with CBRE suggesting even a higher baseline?
Yes.
And so looking at this property specifically, so the subject property has been assigned a model cap rate of 5.1%. Is that correct?
Yes.
And so in comparison to the broker ranges, that would be on the low end. Would that be correct?
Yes, it would.
And would you agree this property is wood frame construction that is nearly 60 years old?
Yes.
And would you agree that wood frame would generally not be considered as high quality of a material as, say, masonry?
It has its ups and downs. I would say that it possibly does not have as long of a life as masonry, if that's what you're basing that on.
Okay, thank you. That would conclude my questions.
Thank you very much. Mr. Marks, any questions?
No, my question's been answered. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Warren?
Mine also, thank you.
Okay, thank you. I have no questions, so we can move on to your presentation, please, Ms. Cates.
Thank you. So if you turn to page 2, you'll see our requested assessment of $1,724,000. On page 4, we have our property description. So the subject property is located on McMillan Avenue between its intersections with Daly Street North and Nassau Street North in the McMillan area of Winnipeg. So the property consists of a 2-story apartment block that was built in 1965. And it has 19 units, which includes 4 bachelors, 11 one-bedrooms, and 4 two-bedrooms. And there are 11 outdoor parking stalls noted. We have a Google Map view on page 5. And then on page 8, we have the overview of our cap rate. So we are disputing the assessor's cap rate of 5.1%, and we are using a cap rate of 5.5% based on our cap rate study that we've previously gone through. So our base cap rate, given the age of this property, is 5.5%. And we've considered other factors of the property and have determined to make no adjustment based on there being a balance of pros and cons with the property. We feel a 5.5% cap rate is supported and is well within the range of what the brokers suggest for low-rise properties. So if you turn to page 9, we have our income valuation breakdown. So we are using market rents of $205,837, and our vacancy has already been accounted for in that figure. when accounting for the other forms of income being parking in this situation, we have an effective gross income of $209,217. In terms of the expenses, you'll see we stabilize the expenses based on 3 years of data. Where we deem an outlier to exist, we remove that from our averages. So you'll note in the remarks column on the side, we note if we've used an average or a percentage. Otherwise, it can be assumed we are stabilizing based on the most recent year of data. So we have total expenses of $114,000.
Excuse me, sorry.
So we have total expenses of $114,377, which includes a stabilized repair and maintenance of $2,049 per unit. Now we do a 5-year breakdown of repair and maintenance. So if I could just direct everyone to turn to that on page 26, and I'll just go through it for this property, and then it will be the same for the remainder of the properties. So on page 26, you'll see that we have R&M expenses from 2016 to 2020. And on the bottom of the table, we have our R&M totals. We have our R&M less capital expenditures like roof, hot water tank, etc., and also less waste and snow, because we stabilize waste and snow separately. So the bottom of the table shows the R&M per suite. Now, where we do our stabilizations, if you look toward the right-hand side of the sheet, for the categories of flooring replacement, appliance replacement, painting, and counters, cupboards, and carpentry, we have set values in there, as you'll see on the right-hand side of the sheet. Those values are based on discussions with various property managers throughout the city, and they've kind of come to agreement on certain reasonable values. So that's where we would cap those. And then any other line items where we deem outliers to exist, we would remove those so as not to skew the averages. So that gives us our $2,049 per suite. And it will be this same table to follow for the remainder of the properties where we have the data. So if I could just go back to page 9 of the valuation. So with our net operating income of $94,840 and our cap rate of 5.5%, we get an indicated market value of $1,724,000 rounded, which works out to a value of $90,700 per unit. Now, in terms of our appendix, that would start on page 11. And what I've included is just some photos of the units, as well as the city value and any of the financial statements that we've used in our valuation, as well the R&M breakdown on page 26 and our valuation repeated again on page 27. And that would conclude my presentation on this property. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Ms. Martins, do you have any questions for Ms. Cates?
No, I don't. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Mr. Marks?
No questions for me, thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Warren?
None, thanks.
Thank you. Nor do I. Thank you. Is there a need for summary from either party?
Thank you.
I'm good also. Thank you.
Thank you very much. The next matter on the docket this evening is 220 Hugo Street North. Ms. Martins, please proceed when you are ready.
This is file number 221558. Roll number 12022203000. 220 Hugo Street North. For the roll year 2023, we have an assessed value of $3,771,000, which is broken down between the two classifications at $3,240,000 for class code 20 and $531,000 for class code 10. For this property, we have 2 buildings, 2 3 stories. It was built in 1912 to 1913, has an effective year built of 1912 to 1924. There are 32 suites with 19 outdoor parking spots. The land area is 21,259 square feet. The plan area is 9,582 square feet. We look on page 3, please. You see the breakdown of units as 1 bachelor, 14 1-bedroom, 8 2-bedroom, 3 3-bedroom, and 6 4-bedroom, giving us our 32 units with an average monthly rent per unit at $1,179.06. I'll go through the incomes on the 2 different streams, starting with the class code 10, the first stream. We have a gross potential rent of $56,595, a vacancy rate of 4.2%, an expense rate of 47.6%, giving us a net operating income of $28,410, to which we've applied a capitalization rate of 5.35, which gives us our $531,000. And then if we go over to class code 20, our gross potential rent is $396,164. And again, a vacancy rate of 4.2. On this side, we have an expense rate at 54.33% and a net operating income of $173,329 with a capitalization rate of 5.35%, which comes out to $3,240,000. And then when we put those two together, we get the $3,771,000. On the back, we have some pictures. The top is a street-wide view. And then we have some overhead shots just to take a better look at the property. And then we do have a map showing that this is again in the area between Wellington Crescent and Borden. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Ms. Cates, do you have any questions?
Yes, thank you. Are you aware that this property has a heritage status designation?
No.
And would you agree that that would make the property riskier since it places a restriction on the title?
Sorry, can you ask the question again?
Would you agree that a heritage status designation would make the property riskier because it places a caveat or a restriction on the title?
I would say that it does add a different aspect to it, and it adds different expenses to it.
Okay, thank you. That would conclude my new questions.
Thank you very much. Mr. Marks, do you have any questions?
No questions for me, thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Wareham?
None, thanks.
Thank you. I have no questions. Ms. Cates, you may proceed with your presentation when you're ready.
Thank you. So if you turn to page 2, you'll see our requested assessment of $2,957,000, as well as some photos to show the 2 different structures on the site. So on page 5, we have our property description. So the subject property is located on Hugo Street North, where it intersects with Wellington Crescent and McMillan Avenue in the McMillan area of Winnipeg. So the property consists of 2 structures, which includes a 3.5-story and a 2.5-story apartment block. And it has 32 units, and the assessor has already gone through the breakdown. So you'll see here the aerial photograph as well as our Google Map view. And if you turn to page 9, we have an overview of our cap rate. So we are disputing the assessor's cap rate of 5.35%, and we are using a cap rate of 6.25% based on our cap rate study. Given the effective age to the property, it indicates a base cap rate range of 6.1% to 6.6%. So we would start on the low end of the range and consider if there's any need to move to the higher end of the range. So the construction type here is wood frame, and there are multiple buildings. there is a heritage status designation of grade 3, which is not as restrictive as some of the earlier grades like grade 1 and grade 2, but it still places a restriction on the title. So we have considered that. As well, the property has insufficient parking, only 0.25 stalls per unit. But in terms of the positives of the property, it is in good condition, which is accounted for in our base cap rates, where we assume good quality properties in good locations. And as well, it has a good suite mix. So we feel a small adjustment from the base cap rate to 6.25% makes sense for the property. So if you turn to page 10, we have our income valuation breakdown. So we are using an effective gross income of $396,631 based on the 2020. You'll see our expenses below and any outliers we've removed. So for example, line item 17 for office supplies, I've taken out 2018 from the average, which is noted in the remarks. So we have a stabilized repair and maintenance of $1,692 per suite, which gives us total expenses of $211,844. So our net operating income is $184,787, and with our 6.25% cap rate, gives us an indicated value of $2,957,000 rounded, which works out to a value of $92,400 per unit. Our appendix starts on page 12, and I have included the heritage excerpt for you to read if you wished. As well, I have the city value and the financial statements that we've used. Our R&M breakdown would be found on page 27. And that would conclude my presentation for this property. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Ms. Martins, do you have any questions?
No, thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Marks.
There's just one, because the building has heritage status, does that get the maintenance cost higher than normal?
I think in this case, because it's grade 3, it's just certain elements of the exterior, I believe, that are restricted. So I don't think the heritage itself would have an effect on the maintenance costs, but just the age overall of the property.
Okay, thank you. No
Ms.
further
Warren? Okay, thank you. Ms. Warren, any questions?
None, thanks.
Thank you. Nor do I. Is there a need for summary from either party?
No, thank you.
I'm good also. Thank you.
Thank you. The next property is 785 Dorchester Avenue. Ms. Martins, please proceed when you're ready.
Thank you. This is file number 223151 with a roll number of 12022577500. 785 Dorchester Avenue. We have an assessed value of $4,051,000. There's one building with 3 stories. Actual year built was 1912. The effective year built is 1945. There are 25 suites. The land area is 15,032 square feet, and the plan area is 8,397 square feet. On page 3, we have the income workup. We see that there are 10 one-bedroom units, 3 two-bedroom units, and 12 three-bedroom units. The average monthly rent per unit is $1,315.33, which gives us a gross potential rent of $394,599. To that, we've applied a 4.2% vacancy rate and a 43.2% expense rate, which gives us a net operating income of $214,719, which we've applied a 5.3% capitalization rate, giving us an estimated value of $4,051,000. On the last page, we have some pictures. We have a street view, an overhead view, and then again, the map showing where this property is located. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Ms. Cates, do you have any questions for Ms. Martins?
I have no new questions. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Mr. Marks?
No questions from me, thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Warren?
None, thank you.
Thank you, nor do I. Ms. Cates, please proceed with your presentation when you're ready.
Thank you. So if you turn to page 2, you'll see our requested assessment of $3,459,000, as well as an exterior photo of the property. If you turn to page 4, we have our property description. So the subject property is located on Dorchester Avenue between its intersections with Lilac Street and Arbuthnot Street in the McMillan area of Winnipeg. So the property consists of a 3.5-story apartment block that was built in 1912 with an effective age of 1945. And there are 25 units, which includes 11 one-bedrooms, 2 two-bedrooms, and 12 three-bedrooms. And there are 6 outdoor parking stalls noted. So you'll see the aerial view as well as our Google Map view on page 5. So if you turn to page 8, we have our cap rate overview. So we are disputing the assessor's cap rate of 5.3%, and we're using a cap rate of 6.1% based on our cap rate study. So this property has an effective age of 1945, indicating a base cap rate range between 6.1 and 6.6. And given that it is on the newer end of that range, as well, looking at some of the other factors of the property, we have stuck with just the low end of the range and have not adjusted upward. So we're using a cap rate of 6.1% for this property. If you turn to page 9, we have our income valuation breakdown. So we are using rents of $405,777. We have applied a vacancy rate of the 3-year average, which is 6.3%. And when accounting for the other forms of income, we have an effective gross income of $387,721. Our total expenses includes a stabilized repair and maintenance of $1,996 per unit, which gives us an expense value of $176,739. Our net operating income is $210,982, and with our 6.1% cap rate, we get a value of $3,459,000 rounded, which works out to a value of $138,400 per unit, which would be on the higher end for this age bracket. So if you turn to page 11, that's the beginning of our appendix. So we have some photos of the interior. Now I'd like to point out that the photos are staged, but if you kind of remove the furniture and such, you get an idea of the overall finishes of the floor, walls, different elements. We also have the city valuation and the financial statements we used. And then on page 20, we have our repair and maintenance breakdown. And that would conclude my presentation for this property. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Ms. Martins, do you have any questions?
No, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Marks.
None for me, thank you.
Ms. Warren?
None, thank you.
Thank you, nor do I. Is there a need for summary from either party?
No, thank you.
I'm good also, thank you.
Okay, thank you. The next matter on the docket is 742 Dorchester Avenue. Ms. Martins, please proceed when you're ready.
This is file number 223150. Roll number 12022614000. Address is 742 Dorchester Avenue. The assessed value is $899,000. This is one building, 2 stories, built in 1923 with 6 suites and 6 outdoor parking spots. The land area is 6,008 square feet. The plan area is 2,145 square feet. Look at page 3. We see that there are 2 one-bedroom and 4 two-bedroom units. We have an average monthly rent of $1,175, giving us a gross potential rent of $84,608. We've applied a vacancy rate of 4.2%, an expense rate of 44%, giving us an NOI of $45,390. To that, we've applied a 5.05% capitalization rate, which gives us the $899,000. If we look on the last page, there's a street view, 2 overhead views, and the map, again, showing where this is located in the neighborhood. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Cates. Any questions?
I have no questions. Thank you.
Mr. Mark,
None for me, thank you.
Ms. Warren, sorry?
None, thank you.
Oh, okay, thank you. Just wanted to check. Okay, I have no questions either. So Ms. Cates, please proceed with your presentation when you're ready.
Thank you. So if you turn to page 2, we have our requested assessment of $781,000. On page 4, we have a property description. So the property is located similar to the last, and the assessor has already gone through a lot of the details of the property. So I will just skip ahead to our income approach on page 8. So we are disputing the assessor's cap rate of 5.05%, and we are using a cap rate of 6.1% for the property. Similar to the prior properties we heard, we have an age of 1923, indicating a range of 6.1 to 6.6%. We note it is wood frame construction. There's no real amenities on the property. And it also does have a low suite count, which we discuss in our cap rate study as being an additional risk factor in terms of having a harder time maintaining proportionate levels of vacancy, as well fewer units to spread out the expenses over. But the property is in good condition and does have a good suite mix. So we've not felt the need for a further adjustment beyond the level of the base cap rate of 6.1%. So if you turn to page 9, we have our income valuation. So we are using rents of $91,061. And our vacancy, we are using a 3-year average of 4.8%. And when accounting for the other forms of income, we get an effective gross income of $89,899. Our expenses include repair and maintenance of $2,105 per unit, for a total expense value of $42,268. We have a net operating income of $47,631, and with our 6.1% cap rate, gives us an indicated value of $781,000, which works out to $130,200 per unit, which again, I would suggest for this age group is quite high. So if you turn to page 11, we have our appendix. So I've included some interior marketing photos that have been provided for the subject property. As well, to follow is the city value, the financial statements. On page 21, we have our repair and maintenance breakdown as well. And that would conclude my presentation for this property. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Ms. Martins, any questions?
No, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Marks.
None for me, thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Wareham.
None, thanks.
Thank you, nor do I. Is there a need for summary from either party?
No, thank you.
I'm good also.
Okay, I'm going to suggest we take a 10-minute break because we've all been sitting for a while. And so we all come back here in about 10 minutes.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. Welcome back, everybody. The next matter on the docket is 124 Lewis Street. Ms. Martins, please proceed when you are ready.
Thank you. This is file number 222133, roll number 12031972000, 124 Lewis Street. For the 2023 roll year, the assessed value is $1,278,000. This is one building with 3 stories, built in 1956, with 15 suites and 6 outdoor parking spots. The land area is 5,453 square feet, and the plan area is 3,388 square feet. On page 3, we have the income workup. We have 6 bachelor units and 9 one-bedroom units, with an average monthly rent per unit at $791.32. This gives us a gross potential rent of $142,438, with a vacancy rate of 3.2, an expense rate of 47.18, and a capitalization rate of 5.7. This gives us our market value of $1,278,000. On the last page, there are some pictures. There's the street view, an overhead view, and again, the map. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Ms. Cates, do you have any questions for Ms. Martins?
Just a couple, thank you. So if we turn to your rent comps on page 4, would you agree that comps 1 and 4 are not in the same neighborhood of the subject?
I'm sorry, I'm not sure where on those there are. If I was going to answer that question, I would have to take a few minutes to look up on the maps.
Okay, and then for comp 2, would you agree that it would be a superior location given that it's Assiniboine adjacent?
I would have to go and look at a map.
Okay, that would conclude my questions. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Mr. Marks, any questions?
Is this particular property model driven?
Yes, it is.
Okay, thank you. No further questions.
Ms. Wareham, any questions?
No, thanks.
Okay, thank you, nor do I. Ms. Cates, please proceed with your presentation when you're ready.
Thank you. So if you turn to page 2, we have our requested assessment of $771,000, as well as an external photo of the property. On page 4, we have our property description. So the subject property is located on Lewis Street between its intersections with River Avenue and Stradbrook Avenue in the River Osborne area of Winnipeg. And you'll see here an aerial view as well as a Google Map view of the property. On page 8, we have an overview of our cap rate. So we are disputing the assessor's cap rate of 5.70%, and we're using a cap rate of 6% based on our cap rate study. So our base cap rate for a property of this age would be 5.75%. And given that it is wood frame construction, it has insufficient parking, only 0.4 stalls per unit. As well, it doesn't have a good suite mix as they are all bachelors and 1-bedrooms. And in our cap rate study, we discuss the preference for larger units as people are spending more time at home, which was a trend that predated COVID. So based on that, we are adding a 0.25% premium to our cap rate. So we are using rents of $85,860 based on the 2020 income of the property. And when adding in the other forms of income, we have an effective gross income of $87,660. Now, in terms of the expenses for this property, they were kind of reported a bit sporadically. So based on that, we have accepted the city's expense ratio of 47.2%, and we have also applied that in our valuation. So our net operating income comes to $46,284, and with a 6% cap rate gives us our indicated value of $771,000 rounded, which works out to $51,400 per unit. And in our appendix, we have the city value as well as the financial statements that we've looked at. And that would conclude my presentation for this property. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Ms. Martins, do you have any questions?
No, thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much. Mr. Marks, do you have any questions?
Not at this time, thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Ware.
No, I'm good, thank you.
Thank you. As am I. Sorry, so Ms. Cates, please proceed. Oh, sorry, that was you. Sorry, okay, let me try again. Okay. Is there a need for summary from either party?
No, thank you.
I'm good also, thank you.
Thank you. Sorry, you can tell it's been a long day. My apologies. All right, the next matter on this docket is 303 Stradbrook Avenue. Ms. Martins, please proceed when you're ready.
This is file number 222196, roll number 12031800100, 303 Stradbrook Avenue. For the roll year 2023, we have an assessed value of $1,344,000. This is one building with 2 stories, built in 1963 with 16 suites and 9 outdoor parking spots. The land area is 11,058 square feet and the plan area is 4,438 square feet. If you'll please turn to page 3. For this suite mix, we have 4 bachelor, 6 one-bedroom, and 6 two-bedroom. We have an average monthly rent per unit at $876. With a gross potential rent of $153,746, we have applied a vacancy rate of 3.2% and an expense rate of 48.52%, giving us an NOI of $76,616. To that, we've applied a capitalization rate of 5.7%, giving us the value of $1,344,000. On the last page, we do have a street view, an overhead view, and a map. Thank you.
All right, Ms. Cates, do you have any questions?
No questions, thank you.
Mr. Marks?
No questions for me, thank you.
Ms. Warren?
I'm good as well, thank you.
So am I. So, Ms. Cates, please proceed with your presentation when you are ready.
Thank you. So if you turn to page 2, we have our requested assessment of $1,262,000, as well as an exterior photo of the property. On page 4, we have our property description. So the subject property is located on Stradbrook Avenue between its intersections with Scott Street and Donald Street in the River Osborne area of Winnipeg. So you'll see an aerial view as well as a Google Map view on the next page. For an overview of our income approach, you could turn to page 8. So there is slight dispute on NOI. We are applying market rents of $146,717 based on the actual stabilized income. We're applying a market vacancy rate of 3.2% and an expense ratio of 50.7% based on the actual stabilized expenses of the property. And we are not disputing the cap rate of 5.7%, and we will also use a cap rate of 5.7% in our valuation. So if you turn to page 9, we have our income valuation breakdown. So following from the rents of $146,717, we are applying a market vacancy rate, as mentioned, of 3.2%. Now we note the actual vacancy of the property is lower, but in our analysis, it is our protocol to apply a market vacancy rate, as a prudent purchaser would be conservative in looking at the properties and would apply a reasonable market vacancy rate. We note the city average is at 3.8%, so 3.2% would be reasonable for the property. When adding in the other forms of income, we have an effective gross income of $145,826. We have expenses, which includes a stabilized repair and maintenance of $1,513 per suite, for total expenses of $73,889. And with with an NOI of $71,937 and a 5.7% cap rate, we have an indicated value of $1,262,000 rounded, which works out to $78,900 per unit. And I've included some interior photos of the property starting on page 12, as well as the city value and the financial statements that we've used, and our repair and maintenance breakdown would be found on page 25. Thank you. That would conclude my presentation for this property.
Thank you. Ms. Martins, do you have any questions?
No, thank you.
Mr. Marks?
None for me, thank you.
Sorry, Ms. Warren?
I'm good as well, thank you.
Thank you, as am I. Is there a need for summary from either party?
No, thank you.
I'm good also, thank you.
All right. Well, I believe, yes. So we have heard all the items scheduled, and this hearing is now adjourned. Good evening, everybody, and thank you. Have a great night.
Thanks very much.
Thank
Good
you.
night.
Thank you. Good night.